So why would Warren Buffett, who's always hated this non-productive asset, now go out and spend $550 million buying a company that all they do is produce gold? Okay, something has to have happened in order for Warren Buffett to have changed his mind. What's going on, real estate investors? My name's Hayden Crabtree, and today we're going to be talking about a current event. Now, I am not a Wall Street real estate investor. I am a Main Street real estate investor, and I bet you are too. What that means is that I'm not working with huge amounts of money. I don't have a $1 billion portfolio, but I invest in real estate to support my family, to support my lifestyle, and to build wealth for my own life. Now, today we're going to be talking about a very important thing that recently happened that not only is affecting Wall Street, but it's also going to be affecting Main Street investors, and that's what I want to talk to you about. Now, the topic is Warren Buffett buys Barrick gold stocks. I think he bought $550 million worth of Barrick gold stocks, and that's important for us for a number of different reasons, which we're going to talk about in this video. Now, if you've read my book, if you know anything about me, you're probably going, Hayden, I thought you hate stocks. And absolutely, that is 100% true. I am not going to be recommending to you today to go out and buy any stocks, but I want to talk to you about what this signal means, right? This is a signal to us as real estate investors, because Warren Buffett, one of the greatest investors of all time is what he's touted as, has in the past said that he absolutely hates gold, that gold is a non-productive asset, that you should not invest your money into non-productive assets. He thinks a productive asset is something like a piece of real estate that produces cash flow, or for him, he buys stocks that are part of businesses that are productive assets. Coca-Cola, it produces soft drinks, they sell them, they make a profit, and they get cash flow paid out in dividends, and that's what Warren has always represented. He's always represented value investing, meaning buying something below what it's worth, that's going to be productive and that is going to appreciate, it's going to go up in value, and is going to pay him along the way. And that's what Warren Buffett's philosophy is. That's what's made him, again, the greatest investor of all time, the Oracle of Omaha. And there's nothing wrong with that. I just hate stocks because I like to be able to control my money. Warren Buffett has great control because he can go out and he can buy huge amounts of companies, so much of companies that he can make an impact. But us Main Street investors, not the Wall Street investors, but us Main Street investors, we don't have enough money, we don't have enough capital, we don't have enough influence to be able to sway those stocks like somebody like Warren Buffett does. So that's why I've resorted, and you have too, that's why you're here, to buying real estate, okay? So again, we don't want to go buy stocks, but we want to learn from Warren Buffett because he is known as the greatest investor of all time, and I respect him a ton. I think it's incredible what he's done. I don't want to do exactly what he's done, but I want to learn every single lesson that I can from Warren. So going back to the theory that Warren Buffett, has always hated gold, physical gold, gold stocks, because he thinks gold is a non-productive asset, and that's absolutely true. What I mean by that, if you buy an ounce of gold, a gold coin that's worth, call it today, $2,000, that gold isn't going to produce anything. That gold is not going to cash flow. It's not going to earn you a return. There is absolutely no productivity tied to that gold coin. So why would Warren Buffett, who's always hated this non-productive asset, now go out and spend $550 million buying a company that all they do is produce gold? Okay, something has to have happened in order for Warren Buffett to have changed his mind, changed his investing philosophy from trashing an asset to going out and buying more than $500 million worth of this company that produces gold. So what has happened? And the answer is we've reached a tipping point in the U.S. economy, in the global economy, where essentially gold is going to be the safe haven. We're going to see gold rise to new all-time high levels. And the reason that's because the government, especially the Federal Reserve in the U.S., but really all around the country or all around the world, every country is producing and printing mass amounts of fiat currency. They're printing a ton of paper money that's not backed up by any real asset. And Warren Buffett has seen this happen, and what he's realized is that we will never reach a point where we can actually pay all of that fiat currency back in terms of real value. There's no value associated with the money that we're printing. We're printing money out of thin air, and that's not how prosperity is created. So what Warren Buffett has realized is that once everybody catches on that our only way out of this hole is to print more and more and more money, everyone's going to realize that this fiat currency, these paper dollars that we have, are becoming worthless and more worthless and more worthless as time goes on, right? So the only real money that we have in the world, the only real store of value that cannot be manipulated, that's always been money for mankind, is gold and silver and precious metals, gold being the most popular. Okay, so what Warren has realized is that all of this money he has that's going up, all these stocks, all this equity he has that's going up and up and up, it really doesn't mean anything because the dollar value through inflation can be taken away immediately. We could see rampant inflation leading to the decline in the value of the dollar. So back in the 1970s, in the early 1970s and before, the dollar was tied to gold. It was on what we call the gold standard. And what that meant is that you could go and you could trade a dollar for actual physical gold anytime you want. Okay, but what happened is the United States, we had printed more money than we actually had gold, so we had to come off of the gold standard, right? And what that did is it essentially said that this dollar that used to be tradable, right? You could trade, I think it was $35 for an ounce of gold. You could go and trade it. It's no longer tied to gold. It's just worth what we say it's worth. And that's why we've seen huge inflation since the 1970s, because the dollar, if it can be freely printed, then what's going to happen is that we're just going to print more and more and more every time we have a problem, and the money's not going to be backed up by any real economic productivity. So coming back around to what Warren Buffett has said, is that he sees that with the United States, we've printed so much money. We've now got $7 billion of debt. Okay, we have so much money printed that we will never be able to pay it off. I mean, realistically, we will not $7 billion. I'm sorry, we have $7 trillion worth of debt. And I'm actually going to leave a link in this description that you can go and see the Federal Reserve, who prints this money. You can go and see the chart that shows real time how much money they're printing. And the higher and higher that money printing number goes, the more and more inflation, the more and more your dollar's worth is going to go down, the more and more inflation we're going to see. So what all this means is that Warren Buffett, who is a long-term thinker, right? Warren Buffett isn't a gambler. He doesn't bet on something and get out of it the next week. If he buys into something, he thinks about the long term of this asset. So if Warren Buffett has changed his mind and is now very, very bullish on gold, then that tells all of us something. That tells us that the dollar, because Warren Buffett used to say never bet against the United States, never bet against the dollar. And what he's essentially done here is bet against the dollar, meaning he no longer has ultimate faith in the US dollar. He now has more faith in gold and the demand of gold in the future. So that tells us that Warren Buffett, the smartest investor of all time, is now thinking, okay, he's saying, I might want to get out of my dollars and get into this real asset called gold. So what that tells all of us is that in the future, we can expect inflation to occur. We can expect the value of the dollar to go down. We can expect everyone's faith that the dollar is king to start going down. And that means every other country in the world. Right now, the United States is the reserve currency of the world, meaning that most of the time people default into the dollar. Oil is traded in the dollar, and it has ultimate power. But if everybody else starts to realize that the dollar, which is no longer backed by gold, okay, is starting to lose its value, and if other countries stop using the United States dollar as a reserve currency, that means our money could just absolutely crash because there is no backing. It's all about the faith the people have in the dollar. It's literally just a piece of paper. It's not tied to anything real. So for Wall Street investors, that means one thing. It means they probably want to buy gold stocks, gold mining stocks, Barrick Gold, whatever. Main Street investors, me, you, here's what we need to know is that in the future, inflation is coming, right? That's what this signal tells us of Buffett buying gold, that inflation is coming. What does that mean? That means we need to have our money in real assets. Real assets meaning gold, silver, real estate, a business that produces. We need things that cannot be manipulated, right? Because the dollar is manipulated. Whenever we wake up and the next day, we wake up on Monday and Sunday night, the Federal Reserve printed $1 trillion. That is manipulation of the dollars you have in your pocket, and it's actually a secret tax they impose on you as your dollars become less and less valuable as time goes on. Now, all this money that we've seen printed, it could take a year, 2 years, 3 years in order to see this inflation occur. But what we need to know is that we need to get our money, our wealth, out of dollars and we need to get it over into something real, whether it be gold, silver, or my favorite is real estate, because gold and silver are money, right? That's a store of value. It always has been, and it's likely to go up in value relative to the dollar. Now, the value isn't really changing because an ounce of gold is an ounce of gold, and an ounce of silver is an ounce of silver, no matter what you have to pay for it in order to get it. So what that means for us as real estate investors, as Main Street people who don't have billions of dollars to go out and buy gold companies, is that we need to protect our assets. The money that we have, if you have 20 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand, 500 grand, $1 million, $5 million in the bank, however much money you have, you need to figure out a way to get that into an asset that's not only going to be inflation proof, but is actually going to benefit from inflation. So let me describe what I mean. If I go out and I buy a real estate building for $1 million and I get a 70% LTV, loan to value, loan on that, then I'm going to be able to go out and get debt of $700,000, okay? Now, as inflation occurs, my rents on my property are going to go up. Let's say the rents were $1,000 a month on each apartment unit. Those are going to go up. As inflation occurs and the dollar becomes less valuable, I'm going to raise those rents to keep up with inflation. But my bank payment, the amount of money I have to pay to the bank, is going to stay the same. So even if in 5 years the dollar's value gets cut in half, what is a dollar today? It only has 50 cents of purchasing power. My bank payment, my debt payment is still going to be the exact same, even though my rents are now double and my property value is now double. So not only am I using inflation, protecting my money by putting my money into a inflation-resistant asset like real estate, but I'm also benefiting by taking out debt that I can get today and leveraging that debt into long-term set payments in what's going to be an inflation-resistant asset. Okay, so super important that you put your money, if you have time, if you can find a good deal. I don't think you should overpay for real estate today, because we are essentially not gambling. It's pretty certain that this is going to happen. I mean, whenever money has been created, money has been printed, inflation has been the result. So we shouldn't, just absolutely ditch the current day valuations, but I am very certain that inflation is going to occur in the future. So to wrap all this up, what I'm trying to tell you is that you need to get your money, any store of value that you have now, if it's not in real estate, if it's not in gold or silver, you need to get it into real assets that cannot be manipulated. And I prefer to get them into a productive asset like real estate that's not only going to hedge against inflation, it's going to benefit from inflation, and it's a productive asset that is going to pay you. So this is a warning, right? Warren Buffett buying Barrick Gold is a warning. It is a signal of what is to come. It's still early. I'm recording this on August 18th, 2020. It is still early. Gold may look like it has gone up. Silver may look like it has gone up. It has, but here's the thing. It's going to keep going up, and it'll go up, and it'll go up for the rest of time. So I'm going to tell you right now, especially depending on what happens in November, the amount of money that we've printed at the rates we have, the interest rates being at an all-time low, and we still can't even pay our debts. Whenever we try to raise interest rates, get them back to normal levels, it's going to absolutely obliterate it. Everyone is going to realize we've gotten ourselves into too much debt, we can't pay for our debts, and something dramatic is going to have to happen. The dollar is going to have to come off of the world reserve currency. People are going to lose faith in the dollar. The only real way to get the United States out of the situation we've gotten ourselves in is to print more and more money to pay our interest, to pay our national debts off, and that's just not a real solution. I mean, that solution has been tried in history, and it does not work. Printing money to get yourself out of the hole only digs yourself in a further hole. But the problem is that the politicians we have now and every other politician that's currently running for office does not understand that fact, that printing money is not the solution to get us out for long-term prosperity. Unfortunately, I mean, we're doing our best with what we have, and unfortunately the game of politics is you do things to try and make people happy, but that's not what's going to solve the problem that we're in. The problem that we're in, and the way to solve that problem, is to no more economic stimulus and just to let people, as harsh as it sounds, struggle their way through it, right? Because the amount of money that we're getting ourselves in debt right now, we're sacrificing our future for our current day pleasure, okay? And that is not a formula. We always want to delay gratification and sacrifice today for a better tomorrow, but right now we're doing the exact opposite. So this is a warning. If you're watching this video and you've heard about Warren Buffett buying Barrick Gold, I want you to learn from this. I want you to see why this is an indicator of what you should be doing with your money. Go out, get your money in a productive asset, educate yourself on how to buy real estate. I've got a best-selling book, Skip the Flip, Secrets the 1% Know About Real Estate Investing. You can get it absolutely free. There's a link in the bio if you want to get that. Read the book if you know nothing about real estate investing. It's a very easy read. You can pick it up, read it in probably 2.5 to 3 hours if you're a fast reader. If you're a slow reader, you can get it done in a day, and it's absolutely free. So educate yourself on how to go out and buy real estate. Go out and do it. In between now and when you find an opportunity, store your money away in gold and silver or some sort of real asset. If you don't know where to buy gold and silver, I invite you, shoot me an email. I can refer you to the people I buy gold and silver physical coins from. Do not buy gold stocks. Those, again, can be manipulated. You want to buy physical gold and physical silver, shoot me an email if you're watching this video and you want to learn where I buy mine from, Hayden at HaydenCrabtree.com. I'll leave my email in the description below. You can shoot me an email, make the subject line want to buy gold or want to buy silver, and that way I can read through it. I can respond to you about where I get mine from, and I can recommend what coins you buy and what coins I've bought. So yeah, I have physical gold, I have physical silver, and I have real estate, so I feel good about the inflation that's coming. I think it'll actually it'll help me because all my debts will be paid down, all my assets will go up in value, and this is actually how the wealthy get wealthier, how the rich get richer, because they have real assets. When inflation occurs, the inflation wipes out their debt and their assets go up in value, and it continues to produce them. So I invite you to join the rich and get richer from what's about to happen as told by Warren Buffett. Do me a favor, check out some more of my videos on this channel, subscribe to the channel, and smash the like button. It helps other people see this video. I ask that you do get my book. I know you'll love it. And in the meantime, I'll see you in the next video.